Hello world, this is Jesse with CoinSense on this fine Sunday evening. Let's check out what our favorite cryptos are doing leading up to tomorrow's emergency Federal Reserve meeting, and we'll go over what I think is going on and what it's all about. Sitting right now in first place, of course, we have Bitcoin at 19,137.52. Second place, we have Ethereum at 1,290.73. Down here in our number 6 position still, and with a couple cents less than last night, we have 44 cents for XRP. Down at the number 27 position still, 11 cents for Stellar XLM. There hasn't been much movement throughout the day, just a couple percentage points down. Let's talk about that meeting tomorrow morning. There's a lot of people worried about some big banks, and I mean specifically like Credit Suisse, which is a GSIB, or a global systemically important bank, or banks. That's what that stands for. When we think about a GSIB, it's like we have to think about it as something that's too big to fail. There's an actual list of pretty big banks, and if any one of these right here were to fail or not be able to pay back their loans, which is what tomorrow's meeting is about, a review and determination by the Board of Governors on the advance and discount rates to be charged by the Federal Reserve banks. So that means that a lot of people don't know, but every day, almost every day, banks around the world have to borrow money from each other. And since pretty much the entire world government is run, or the entire government is run on the dollar, if the American dollar is having issues, it affects every single country down the line. Like, it's just how it goes. So what tomorrow is going to be is an emergency meeting, and maybe, I don't know for sure, but they might lower the rates that they're charging other Federal Reserve banks for their loans. And if this happens, that's actually pretty good, because it'll give the other banks a chance to kind of catch up. So they'll be able to pay their debt back, and they don't have to go higher with their loan rates or their quantitative easing. Same thing that America's doing, quantitative easing, buying back a whole bunch of stuff in the stock market to help bolster the economy up. But it's not really bolstering anything up, it's just printing money and going into nothingness. Special shout out to David Brady. Possible triggers, and what this kind of means is like right here, a major bank collapse. Say if Credit Suisse were to collapse because they can't pay back their loan because the rate is too high, and we don't lower the rate, then these are some things, or like this is what might cause the Fed to pivot or not raise rates or raise them as high as they would have. Another interesting story that I wanted to bring to everybody's attention is a U.S. Senator introduces a No Digital Dollar Act to prohibit Treasury and the Fed from interfering with Americans using paper currency. Now I'll go ahead and read this to you real quick, or actually pretty fast. A U.S. Senator has introduced the No Digital Dollar Act to prohibit the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve from interfering with Americans using paper currency. If a central bank digital currency is adopted, the bill further states that no central bank digital currency shall be considered legal tender under Section 16.5103 of Title 31 United States Code. No Digital Dollar Act introduced. So this actually went through. The U.S. Senator James Lankford, Republican, Oklahoma, announced Thursday that he has introduced a bill titled No Digital Dollar Act to protect the U.S. Treasury and the Federal Reserve from interfering with Americans using paper currency if a digital currency is adopted and makes certain individuals can maintain privacy over their transaction using cash and coins. The bill will, quote, amend the Federal Reserve Act to prohibit the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System from discontinuing Federal Reserve notes, that's cash, if a central bank digital currency is issued, and for other purposes, according to the text of the bill. So that's kind of saying that if they do a CBDC, that they can't get rid of paper money. This is what he wants to do. So even though they might approve a CBDC, right now there's nothing saying that they can't just have, like, they can only have one. There's nothing saying that they'll be forced to have two, so we can keep our dollars, actual physical dollar bills. Remember, if we can have our dollar bills and keep our dollars, then there isn't going to be a central bank in control of everything and knowing what we buy and the whole 9 yards. So it's a little bit more secure that way, for whatever secure you feel in the Federal Reserve. So, furthermore, the Secretary of the Treasury may not discontinue minting and issuing coins under this section if a central bank digital currency is issued. The bill details adding, no central bank digital currency shall be considered legal tender under Section 165103 of Title 31 of the United States Code. Senator Lankford explained that residents in his state have expressed to him their concern that the Treasury could phase out paper money and transition to a digital dollar. Kind of like maybe what China's doing or something, where they, I believe, I might be wrong, but they are getting rid of their physical money and they just went to card money or digital money. He stressed that many Oklahomans still prefer hard currency, or at least the option of hard currency. And that's true. There's probably a whole bunch of people in America that want to see, feel, and touch their money. They don't trust that with a push of a button that their entire world can be erased and all their life savings gone, and they're at the mercy of the government at that point. It's one thing, I mean, they could take your money if they wanted anyway, but they'd have to like really make a physical show of that. But right now, they'd really have to have a reason. Or I guess, whatever. The lawmaker added that there are still questions, cyber concerns, and security risks for digital money, emphasizing that there is no reason we can't continue to have paper and digital money in our nation and allow the American people to decide how to carry and spend their own money. The lawmaker explained that there is currently no federal statute that prohibits the Treasury from only having a digital currency. While the Federal Reserve is working on a digital dollar, which we all know, they've announced this, which is also why I'm really big into XLM and XRP, the Fed Chair Jerome Powell said this week that a U.S. central bank digital currency, a CBDC, will take at least a couple years. So they're in the works. We know it's going to happen. I think Coinbase is a part of this. Ripple or XRP is a part of this. Swift is testing Stellar, and they've tested Ripple. Or XLM, sorry, don't confuse the two. One's a business and one's a ledger, a coin, cryptocurrency. It's hard to explain. Anyway, he says, Powell, we are looking at it very carefully. We are evaluating both the policy issues and the technology issues, and we are doing that with a very broad scope. Of course, Powell said they're doing that with a very broad scope. He's doing a lot of things with a broad scope and not being very specific. So, I guess that's it for right now. We'll see what tomorrow morning brings. I want to thank everybody for taking their time and listening to me. Again, this is Jesse. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll talk to you later.